News.
There's a big fucking breaking news right now with Riot. I don't know if you saw people in the chat talking about that.
I did not.
People are gonna fucking walk out on Riot because Riot's trying to block people from suing them over gender discrimination.
What's happening?
So Riot, well-publicized shithole place to work, Riot Games, is apparently trying to block people from suing them over being notorious shithole place to work, Riot Games, which is causing a bunch of employees to threaten to walk out like en masse. Kotaku and Waypoint and shit are fucking...
Got any backstory on this?
Well, I mean, have you been following the fact that like Riot is basically run by a bunch of macho dickheads?
I haven't.
Okay, Riot sucks. This has been a long ongoing story for like I want to say like a year.
Kind of ironic, the name of the company.
Yeah,
but go on.
The bait, like remember the fucking Diva music video and all those Diva skins?
Yeah,
like they fucking stiffed the women who made those skins, for example.
Okay,
and it's just
How?
Like they didn't pay them.
Oh wow. Okay,
they didn't get anything for it.
Jesus.
I think one of them got fired afterwards. But like it is just an old-fashioned fucking boys club place to work, apparently, which has led to, there was a big bunch of stories about this like a while ago, and people are threatening to sue them, right? And then they are trying to use legal trickery to go, no, you're not allowed to sue us because you worked here, which is having people threaten to walk out at this point. It's a mess. That shit's a mess. It's think of how do I put this? Remember the shit that was going on at Quantic Dream about the rugby?
Yeah.
This is not a rugby cloakroom.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but just bigger. Just a bigger version of that.
At the place
shit.
with infinite money.
Yes.
Because League is infinite money.
That's correct.
That sucks. Yeah, I don't know anything about this story.
It has something to do with arbitration agreements. People are talking about in chat.
No legal action allowed. Okay. Well, I mean, clearly we're not super up to date on this, but what's the part of it that's breaking right now?
The fact that employees are threatening to walk out over the fact that they are trying to force people into private arbitration under some California...
How'd they get away with not paying people that made skins?
I don't fucking know. I'm probably wrong.
I'd like to catch the details on that, because that doesn't sound like...
Honestly, I haven't followed it all that closely.
Legal.
Yeah.
that sounds criminal, so what? Okay.
Riot continues to be in the trouble.
Walkout. Riot Games' decisions to try and block lawsuits filed against the company prompted an enormous internal blowback it's still wrestling with. This is a Waypoint article from Waypoint on Vice. On Friday, Kotaku reported Riot took steps to prevent employees from taking legal action against the company after multiple lawsuits were filed in the wake of Kotaku's investigation into the studio's culture of sexism last summer. The reaction to the aggressive move prompted talk of an employee walkout, according to two employees at Riot, and an internal Slack message sent to Riot's chief diversity officer to employees. Waypoint granted the employees anonymity to speak about issues that could impact their employment. Okay, talk of a walkout has been brewing.
All right, so chat's correcting me on certain details. It was not payment, but they did fire the woman who did make that neon Akali skin. You know, the most popular one.
The one with the hat?
Yeah.
Okay.
The ninja one with the neon. She got shit canned afterwards, after the work was done.
Okay.
Like, oh, come on. Excuse me, we gotta get rid of it.
Huh. Okay. This is one of those breaking stories that it's hard to really...
It's too breaking.
To talk about, because there's too much to read and find out at this point in time. But based on us guessing the news, as we sit here and guess the news, that sounds pretty awful. And that sucks. My Riot thing is just
They make League of Legends. Is that pretty much?
sitting there waiting for Legend of Fighters or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's not gonna happen.
Fight League, but okay. Well, that's not where I was originally gonna go.
Where are we going?
I was going somewhere else. Disappointing.
Oh, fucking sick. It's a good week for disappointment.
Sure is.
What do we got?
We can talk about we can talk about the cancellation of or delaying of Titanfall, or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
This is a really weird story for a lot of reasons.
Like, we could talk about the part where I made my peace,
and now your piece has been unmade.
and now like, my watch was ended, and now I have to fucking roll out of the grave on it and get all bummed out again.
So what are you talking about?
But it's not canceled, it's delayed, whatever. But effectively, they just kind of came out and said, yo, Apex did so good that we have to delay every Titanfall project so that we can do more Apex, I guess.
And one of the things is specifically because we don't want to put the team at Respawn through crunch.
But here's the thing. When you use the word delay as opposed to cancel or shelved...
Yeah, it's good. It's better.
Yes. Because if you tell me that you're working on something until you announce that it's canceled, I'll believe that you're saying what you're...
lucky for you.
I believe what you say.
Titanfall 3 is delayed right up until after Apex is no longer popular.
Mm-hmm.
So... Mm-hmm. I find it interesting because this was framed as like, listen, we have the same staff. We could crunch them, but we're not going to, which is fairly interesting considering, I mean, like, NetherRealm's crunching people. Everybody's crunching people now.
I didn't like the wording because it was unclear what it meant. Because the quote was, in order to fully support Apex Legends, we, Respawn, are pushing out plans for future Titanfall games. No resources from the Apex Legends teams are being shifted to other titles in development here at the studio, nor are we pulling resources from the team working on Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. That's the executive producer, Drew McCoy. They seem to imply, whatever weeks ago, that there were already separate teams on these separate projects.
Yeah.
And it sounded like they had 4 things in development. Which is a lot for a team like Respawn.
Yeah.
But there was Apex, which is, as we know, a huge breakout hit. Star Wars, which, as we know, has to be a huge breakout hit.
Must be big hit.
And then there was Titanfall, the new project. And then there was Titanfall VR. I guess the decision was those things don't matter in the wake of Apex and Star Wars. Which, yeah.
Fair.
What are you gonna say? It just hurts because, obviously, Titanfall is the franchise that I care the most about of those 3 things.
Well,
so I'm not happy to hear that.
So you're saying they should crunch them? Yeah, they should crunch them to get your Titanfall.
No.
Yeah, see, exactly.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I'm being a dumb internet commentator.
They don't have
crunch your people.
They don't have the size, bandwidth, and what are you going to tell a studio? Hey, don't take on big contracts that pay your studio huge money to keep you guys open.
Like, do you get the feeling that at this point, unless a studio comes out and is like, we are not crunching our gang, that they're all crunching them all the time?
Every project I've ever been on had crunch time.
It's
crunch. You say it as if it's like a new, like,
no,
bad
I don't
word,
say it's a new.
But literally every crunch time is a phase of development.
The bigger problem is that apparently for some companies it's not a phase of development. It's development is crunch. That's no good, man. That can't go on like that forever.
When your producer doesn't allow for enough time, and so in some cases it's incompetence, but in a lot of cases it's overpromising. It's easier to, because people are really happy if you can deliver things quickly.
Yeah.
So in some cases you're going to see overpromising, in some cases you're going to see underestimations, but every single project I've ever worked on has had a crunch time. Like, I don't know what it looks like to not. So
That's fucked up, man.
yeah, it's pretty much just like we're nearing the end, and because you know what it is, and it depends on what the nature of your job is, right? So like QA in particular is a job that has no ceiling.
Yeah.
A game can never be too clean, right? It is just tested until how few bugs you find just keeps going until like the chart, it goes off the chart, but it never stops. There's no point where 0 bugs exist.
Yeah.
So as you approach submission, the more time you spend, the better, no matter what, under all circumstances, because any time spent possibly finding that next bug is worth it.
Even shitty, non-productive time?
From a compliance point of view, the game can be clean, right? Because there's a finite set of rules, and if it adheres to those rules, like, unless really, really particular weird things happen in particular ways, which is always possible, it seems like you can mark something as more or less clean. When you're an artist, your job comes to an end.
Yeah.
You know, at some point you don't have any more to do. So when you're programming, you're often going up to the last second, you know, because there's always something that needs to be tightened up, readdressed. You have to tighten up those graphics on level 4. But no, in some cases it's just literally like, can we optimize loading here? Can we, you know, like, what can we do? Can we do something?
So how come the movie business gets away with actually hitting their deadlines?
Because you watch a movie in one way and that's it. There's no player interaction involved in a movie. Everyone has the same experience. There's no variables that we don't know about until it's in your hands when it comes to a movie.
I don't know, man. I find it difficult to even understand this concept because my only real ass job that wasn't this crap was me working in that fucking grocery store. And for all the faults that shit had, because it was retail hell, I punched in, and then 10 o'clock rolled around, and I punched out. And then the boss would say, hey, it's not done. I went, you scheduled me to 10, go fuck yourself. And if they gave me shit, I'd talk to my union rep.
Yeah.
And then they'd tell my boss to go fuck themselves.
You weren't specialized in a particular skill that was a part of a multi-year production that needed you and your specific expertise. You know, and
people in the movie business are, however,
yeah, they are.
And I don't get it. How come, the game devs need a fucking union?
It's really just bullying employees that are that care about their work. You know,
like the amount of times I've read the story of I burnt out and now I work in software development and I go home. Right? It's fucked.
It's people that are passionate about what they're working on, that they will, in many cases, depending on the size of the game, that passion will get exploited, and you're searching for that passion when you're hiring, right? When you're taking candidates, doing interviews, you're looking for people that have that. The people that get obsessed with what they're working on, that do have perfectionist qualities, that want to keep going at it, that think about stuff off the clock and bring in a new idea the next day. Like, that's a great employee to help make your game be better.
Right.
And, the human battery aspect is not taken into account. You know, it's the way it goes. Yeah, it's fucking dirt. It's dog shit, man. It really is.
Well, fucking union political issues aside, do you think it's the kind of situation where if the game devs tried to unionize, that they would get fucking swept and you'd see a bunch of studios get shut down? Because I think that fear is exaggerated. I think the ability to outsource the entirety of development to other locations would have been done already if that was feasible, union or not.
No, they'd find a way. They'd find a way. If they looked at it and just went like if they saw if the cost of development got affected in such a way where like the unionization process cut in, I don't even want to ballpark a percentage out there, but the point remains that the amount that is enough for them to be afraid of it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they just Walmart the situation and shut it the fuck down?
Well, because Walmart's a service industry, right? It's not making a fucking like I don't know, like
my job,
yeah,
my job at one point in time was to create tools so that they could find ways to go to other countries and train other countries' employees across the world to be game savvy enough to QA at the level that we were currently QAing games.
right.
And my job was to create a test to show or to figure out how much do you play games, how knowledgeable are you of gaming conventions and the basics of like, you know, what an RPG is, what you know, a first person shooter is, what it's expected to be, enough so that when you play it you know what to do and what to look for, and you know what a problem looks like when it's not supposed to be there. And
as a result, there are no QA firms or departments in North America or Europe.
Well, I was specifically asked after the test came back, and like a lot of people failed it in their test area, that I was told to then drop the difficulty and make it easier to.
Which defeats the purpose of the exercise.
It does,
entirely.
but when you're looking for a positive result, when you have some confirmation bias in you, because it's gonna make things like much more cost efficient.
I don't know. I remember.
You know.
Do you remember calling Bell Canada from 1993 to 2005 ever once?
I fought that, by the way, just so you know.
Oh, I know.
Okay. I think
You've
I've
actually told the story
before.
3-4 weeks ago.
Okay.
But you ever call Bell Canada for any reason?
No.
And the nightmare that was, which was
back in the day,
it was the outsourced fucking phone nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like people whose language was not English as their first language reading off a script that they were not properly trained to do. And I was like, it's the worst thing ever. And now that's gone. They've actually rolled it back because the damage that was done to those companies from that awful, awful experience lasts. And that alone makes me think that it's like, say, what are you gonna do? You're gonna fly everybody in Treyarch out to fucking
CPAC.
Czech Republic so you don't have to pay them properly,
CPAC.
and they're all just gonna go?
No, that's the thing, right? Is that I think it's a bit short-sighted to think that like it's just gonna come down to switching countries and finding somewhere where the unions don't exist, or something like that. I think it looks a lot more like the situation with Montreal and Ubisoft's Ubi School.
Yeah.
You familiar with how that works?
I am not familiar how that
Well,
works.
it's quite simple. Here in Montreal, there's a Ubisoft Ubi School.
Okay.
You can go to it. It'll teach you about various aspects of game creation.
Yeah.
If you want to be an artist, you can take that program. If you want to be a level designer, you do that, etc., etc. You know, and at the end of the year, you graduate, providing you don't fail, and you become the new class of level designers, all looking for jobs in level design. There are a extremely limited number of positions at Ubisoft itself where they look for some level designers. And there's a bunch of other places which used to need level designers but currently don't because they're getting a fresh batch every year.
Right, okay.
Ubisoft then, with their like 1 or 2 positions open, will basically be like, okay, who wants it? And the people they're going through are literally cramming into the funnel where there's two spots and like 30 people are pressing in, and then 12 months later another 30 are pressing in, and so on and so forth ad nauseum. And on the other side, since the supply and demand is so imbalanced, they get to be like, okay, how low can we pay you? How
It sounds like a good reason to go into business for yourself.
you know, how great can we make? How much can we sweeten the deal on our side since we get to pick from the litter?
Yeah.
And we get to pump out more every 12 months. It's a little bit of a thing, you know? And in some cases, like...
But that's, like, pardon me if I'm ignorant on this, but that sounds like the kind of situation where a long-standing, like, labor agreement would actually be highly beneficial.
It certainly would, especially if you're creating skilled workers in a particular thing.
Right.
That have a particular, like, trade, I guess. But there isn't necessarily... there's more people trained to do the thing than there's more workers trained than there are actual jobs
much
and positions available.
It's not shit like plumbing. I remember when I was a kid, my dad said, "Hey, if you don't know what to do with your fucking life, become a plumber. There's too much work. There will always be too much work for plumbing."
Yeah. So there's a bit of an oversaturation problem in certain programs where, you know, like there's just not enough jobs for the program, but they will always take you in and take your money and teach you what needs to happen. And, you know, it's a school, so whatever. But so there's already this kind of undercut culture in a way. And
well, the undercut culture for the burnout stuff, to my understanding, has always been like, you can burn these people out as hard as you want because there's always going to be that fresh new batch coming in. Like, you can crunch people as hard as you want because the young generation that doesn't know about that shit, you know, and doesn't know that their time is like 5 to 10 years tops in most cases, will come right in and go, yeah, I want to make the next Assassin's Creed College, whatever.
And God forbid that, like, the team or project or studio you're in shuts down, and then a whole new bunch of specialists with way more experience than you
flood the market,
flood in,
yeah,
and like
honestly, the
jump to the top of that list.
Like the everybody's like focused on crunch as it's like, dude, working 100-hour a week or else you're fired is like fucked, right? Or not, or else you're fired, or else, you know, we'll just see what happens, right? I don't know what's worse, either that or the fucking bust boom hiring shit, where it's like, we gotta crunch it, hire 100 people that we know we're gonna fire, but we're not gonna tell them, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and we'll have them move, right? I think Kurt Schilling and all that fucking crap with that what was his fucking the Almalur shit,
50 52 50
so
42,
whatever,
his number, his
jersey.
His
fucking bullshit, where he's like, hey, the company will pay the mortgage on the house that you had to buy to move out here. Oops, company went bankrupt, now you have 2 mortgages, fuckers. Is like
38 studios.
Like, that dude should be in jail. But he's not, because he's a sportsman. He's rich, so you go do back the sports talk. Ah, fucking asshole.
Yeah, it's interesting because it would be I would like to see what the results were if you asked people, like, would you be willing to take a hit on video games, either in terms of production, in terms of how long it takes for them to come out, in terms of how much they cost,
yeah,
in terms of all of these aspects, in order to know that the people working on the games are, like, not being abused. Basically, the diamond industry,
yeah,
like blood games.
Yeah,
would you be okay with waiting longer and spending more to know that your games are not blood games?
Only on one condition. So let's take Activision, for example, and thanks, Jim, for giving me the ammunition for this one. Let's take Activision and Call of Duty, right? Let's say they're crunching the Call of Duty gang, right? I would gladly take hits to the Call of Duty map size or stability, you know, whatever, assuming that the devs wouldn't have to crunch or they got the resources they needed, whatever. The day they start paying taxes. Jim recently did a great video about Activision and how Activision not only doesn't pay taxes to the United States, they get tax money back due to some tax holding shit. So,
so a lot of that, now you're getting into something way more complicated, because you're getting into what city do we drop our mega studio in? Well, you'll have to sweeten the deal by courting us and we'll do a little song and dance.
And currently that city is Montreal,
Yes.
actually.
Yes, we will give you sweet-ass incentives
No money down.
to be here.
Yeah.
Which makes it so that us living in Montreal as not employees, as citizens of this city, are, if you're interested in this industry, you're in a good place.
Yeah.
Right? It's nice
It also
to be
means
here.
I, sitting here doing nothing, am paying for Mortal Kombat to come out in some form.
Indirectly.
Yeah.
But yeah, effectively, that's that process of like, we want you in our city because you increase our commerce is a whole other prospect.
It's a whole thing.
You're backing this. You're going back to like.
Well, I should mention the
Zero
reason
on
why
it.
Activision doesn't
You
pay
know.
any taxes is because they have some bullshit holding company shit in a basement in Holland or whatever. Like it's tax avoidance.
It's offshore money.
So
Okay.
like all the DLC crap and all that's like, oh, we don't have. Shut the fuck up. You don't even pay tax. Like,
Now-
there's plenty of money to go around.
Now, I suspect, and in fact, a part of my faith in my fellow human beings relies on the fact that I think the answer to my question for most people, upon being asked, would be absolutely.
Or let's even be more charitable. Probably. Most people would say, yeah, probably.
Why do I feel that there's a cutoff that enters the world of people who maybe don't pay attention to this news? Because if you're listening to this podcast, you probably follow game news enough or hear about events to care about what's happening and to know the name of a studio.
Sure.
But if you happen to be someone that doesn't matter to you and you more or less like games enough to walk into a GameStop, buy one, and walk out, and that's the extent of it, would that person necessarly think the same thing?
The main issue,
Maybe if they knew about it.
The main issue comes down to
I don't
their
know.
own personal life circumstance. The probably the one that exemplifies this weirdness is. Do you remember what was it called? It was the Voice Actors Guild doing a thing with Performance Matters. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. Do you remember how a bunch of developers got super fucking pissed? Like, I don't get any royalties, so fuck you, Troy Baker, or whatever whoever it was. I think Troy was big on that, but I don't quite remember specifically. I'm just using him because he's the biggest shit. And apparently, we're like 1 degree of separation away from him now.
Apparently so.
Hey, Troy. Hey, Noel.
Mr. Beast.
But then the typical response came back is like, you probably should get royalties, man. Like, right? But it comes from your personal place. So man who goes to buy the Madden and go, why Madden more $10? Right? Because so-and-so, whatever. But if that man...
I was pretty pissed when I went to buy Street Fighter 4 and it was $79.
Right? But and if that man worked bad gas station job, bad money, man don't care.
Yeah. Less game.
Yeah, less game, more money.
Yeah.
And then it's
$10 could be other Steam game.
Yeah.
$10
could be footlong or 5 beer.
$10 could be Hollow Knight on sale.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah. That's real.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying, you know?
And also, like,
if you really want to fucking get into it, what kind of phone you got there?
Oh, you mean the one that's built by a Chinese slave economy?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one?
How much you pay for that?
A couple $100.
Compared to how much you think it actually costs to make?
I don't know, a couple $1,000.
And
if
how
you
about-
take the cost of human suffering out of it.
And what if you made it here? Yeah.
Oh, man, you guys enjoying this stream? This stream running on technology built by slaves?
You have any burgers recently? Enjoy them?
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Market. The market.
Oh, this is awkward, huh?
Yeah, it is. Because solving this problem
Oh, no.
is actually addressing literally our modern economy as a whole. This is how it works.
It's kind of like a big problem.
It's kind of. And it's almost as if we're shooting out of our expertise zone.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's almost as if we're touching on things we have no ability to understand, much less propose hypothetical solutions to. Almost.
Yeah.
But what do I know? I'm not Tim Cook.
I don't know who Tim Cook is.
Tim Apple.
Fuck him.
I'm not Jeff Amazon.
You mean I'm gonna send a robot horse to your house?
I'm not
Amazon.
I'm not Mark Facebook. I can't fully comprehend exactly how this.
I don't know. I don't trust any of those guys for a multitude of reasons.
Hey, well, Drac Twitter.
Yeah,
he's out there. Doing
oh yeah.
He's doing things.
Uh-huh.
He's sitting down.
Well,
dude.
make me king of the world. I'll fix it.
Dude, like, straight up, you want to not have crunch time on your video games?
That's right.
You got to pay $10,000 for your iPhone with the fold tech, because they came up with the fold tech.
You hear those things are like every review thing they sent out broke within a day.
Well,
like
a bunch of them did,
disaster.
and yeah, so which is why you don't buy the first version, but you know, or you buy the Huawei one that they fucking stole.
Oh man,
and made on their own. Anyway, dude.
So we have this whole conversation, but you know what's really exciting? Human augmentation. Let's just kick that can down the road.
I just like you want you want you want to get rid of blood diamonds. You want your ethical video games. You want your no crunch sticker on the cover of a game before you buy it.
Yes, I do.
This game was
no
made,
employees were crunched in the making of this game.
There are no dolphins inside of this can of tuna.
100% no dolphin.
Crunch free. You want your crunch free video game, sir? I hope you're willing to fucking upset la revolution.
Okay.
I hope you're willing to turn the whole thing on its head.
Okay.
Because it goes from there to the union, to the fucking company, to the placement of the company's choice in the location, to the tax breaks, and then them trying to create a profit margin and the comparison to other businesses.
And the shareholders and all that crap.
Oh, shareholders need to see those numbers
Apparently,
at the end of the quarter
that
go
economic theory about maximizing value for shareholders only came about in like the 70s. It's actually really new.
Huh.
Yeah. Prior to that, the well understood like idea was that the idea for a company was to maximize value, not create money for shareholders. But some Nobel Peace Prize guy made some paper and everybody got it high on balls on it.
Or you're gonna see that game getting sold for $40 on day one at fucking Walmart or Future Shop, and guess what you're gonna go do? You're gonna buy that fucking $40 game.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna see the Amazon deal where you buy it by pre-ordering on Amazon to get $10 off, and guess what you're gonna fucking do?
What?
You're gonna fucking pre-order that game and get it for $10 off.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's what you're gonna do.
I would love to see a crash of like almost all the major game publishers into smaller companies. Because if they're crunching on indie, at least they're crunching themselves.
Does that make it better?
Yeah.
But
The weeks that I put
that was the argument that that dude used when he was talking about what game was it where he was like, no, I was saying we voluntarily crunched.
Yeah, not everyone ever voluntarily crunches.
But what do you remember the story I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was
something.
Rockstar.
Yeah.
And then everyone anonymously came forward and be like, yeah, he's full of shit.
Dude, like, if you want to get real, those Cuphead guys are probably out of their minds.
Yeah, probably. Same thing with the Hollow Knight guys.
Not MGMT, but whatever, like, they're probably nuts.
Yeah.
And, like, we're just going, yeah!
The triumph of the individual spirit.
Your likely addiction to your work and potential illness is something we fucking want to throw money at you for, because you won't quit.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do about it? You know?
Yeah.
Like, some people are just going to work it that hard, man. And there's nothing you can do about that, admittedly.
Well, what you can do is put weights on them so they work slower.
There is objectively, of course, a place where it's like the difference between forcing someone to do it because it's their job and someone willingly doing it is where you can draw the line, I suppose. That's a logical place.
And the fuzziness of that line is where like the current AAA industry likes to live, which it's like, hey man, I'm not gonna say we're gonna fire you. I'm just saying promotions are coming up, man. This has got to really impress the impress the housers. If the housers come in here and see you not working, they're gonna be like, "What's going on? Is that people not working don't like the Cowboys?"
I mean, look, if you're salaried and you have a task and the task requires completion, you got to come in and do the hours until the task
I don't know.
is done.
Salaries sound like a thing for suckers.
Oh, you'd rather buy the hour?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a safer bet for you.
Do we work kind of like by the hour, right? Or what do we do? What is this?
This is not at all like that.
I don't know what this is.
This is not that.
Okay.
This is advertising.
Okay. Well,
This
that's a whole different thing.
This is a word from our sponsors.
Yeah, and then the advertising money is going to all dry up when people realize ads aren't real, and then
When everybody has a really comfy mattress.
yeah, and then we're gonna have to start selling our blood.
it's only
And you know what? You know what I'm saying, by the way? I'm not saying we're gonna sell our blood to like the blood bank or whatever. No, we're gonna sell our blood to you guys at home. Who wants some of my blood? You can do crazy shit with it. You can clone a tiny little pat.
So think about that feeling the next time you purchase a game at a highly discounted rate.
Gamer blood. Thank you.
At the end of the credits, you can even have a little sticker that pops up saying this game was expressly made with crunch time. 10,000 employees across multiple countries were crunched in the making of this game.
Yeah.
Feel that.
And you at the end of the crunch time thing, it's like these are the babies. These are photos of parents meeting their children for the first time.
These are the crunch babies.
Yeah.
That were born.
That fathers were allowed to see at the end of development.
Yeah.
I was about to say the mothers and fathers were allowed to see, and then realized that didn't make much sense at all.
Does it?
I don't know how a mom could not see the crunch baby.
Well, quite frankly,
does this go into a tube under the desk?
If you go to the Activision OBGYN,
yeah, that's right.
And then you put the fucking suction cup.
Oh, they put him in the crunch locker.
And then the suction cup just goes.
Yeah, suck them into the crunch locker, and they seal it off for freshness.
And then you wheel them back over to the desk.
Yeah.
You have to stitch it all back up.
Yeah,
of course.
you got it.
You put the organs back inside.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you put the keyboard. You get a gamer cube.
That's right.
And you put it around the mom.
That's right. So they can't see the stuff happening.
And the gamer cube, and she's got her keyboard and mouse and the monitor in front of her, and they scoop that fucking baby out of there, and you don't have to worry about it until crunch time is over.
Yeah, that's right.
And she can keep working on her keyboard and mouse.
That's right. That's correct. That solves every problem.
Completely.
You know, if you hook your employees up to like all sorts of medical technology, you don't even need to let them take medical leave because it's the healthiest place to be is at work.
Just dump that baby in the fucking, in the Metacritic pit. And if your game gets at least an 85% on Metacritic. Like your baby is locked behind a fucking a glass chamber with the score of the game that you just released, aggregating as the reviews come in, and the door has to get to 85. The score has to get to 85 before the door goes brrr.
And then it's at 84, and you're in the office with your boss being, come on, please, come on, count, come on. Call Metacritic and tell them to count the 3D Wego score. The 3D Wego score is like 100.
What Xboxboys.nl? What about Xboxboys.nl?
No, the DualShockers review is really good.
DualShockers,
it's really good.
Why did you come on? DualShockers got the review in. Can we? All right, man. Baby door opens up.
Oh no, Mara Station review came out. They're coming back. They're coming back.
Fuck.
They're going back in.
Oh shit. The IGN 3 out of 10.
That would be the kind of thing that it's like Jim Sterling returns to reviews and puts all nations' children at risk.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, yeah, the IGN 3 out of 10 fucking comes out, and it just cuts to children being ripped out of their parents' hands. Like they get it, and then they're like, wait, hold on. It drops back to 84, and then they just come in and just grab the kid. Nope.
I can't. This is the worst. This is the dark future. Someone make a game out of this. This is really good. This is good stuff. This is free.
Consume product. Don't ask questions.
That is the most applicable. I thought like Mike screaming endless trash was going to be the most applicable thing Red Letter Media ever put out, but no. Fucking Jay going, don't ask questions, just consume product and get excited for next product as the screen grab with the subtitle is the most useful thing Red Letter Media ever made.